He knew he needed a little bit more help.
Basic essentials that he doesn't have, not having those things or not knowing the way of going about getting those things.
Most of them come from low socioeconomic families.
And come to find out, he didn't have comfortable running shoes.
Their parents are not able to help, the student's not able to pay for it.
In the public education system, there's not always funding available.
They didn't have the financial means to be in dual credit courses or even some summer enrichment classes. So before the Education Foundation, we had students that were great kids. They were involved in extracurriculars and they were working hard, but they didn't have the financial means to be in dual credit courses. And some families, they had economic hardships, and they felt those economic hardships because they couldn't provide for their kids. So this is definitely something that changed with the Education Foundation.
After Alston was acknowledged by a lot of schools, his life became infinitely harder his spring semester of his senior year with the passing of his mother. He had to figure out how to become a man all of a sudden, just a few months shy of being 18 years old. He didn't know how he was going to be able to graduate, figure out how to go to school, become an adult on his own. But with the guidance of teachers, this foundation, scholarship programs, he was able to go to school. He was able to complete that dream that his mother and himself had for his future. And that's because he had guidance and support and people that helped him be able to have that dream.
They get through high school, and now they've gotten to the finish line. They've applied for their grants, and they've received their grants. They've received their scholarships, but they still need just a little bit of help, room and board and housing and some of the essentials that they need in their dorm room or their apartment, laptops. The Pine Tree Education Foundation grant, I've seen remove those barriers.
Something that I really do notice is that they do lack confidence in themselves. We're really working on that in the gym and just trying to grow that confidence to apply it into their everyday lives.
We have a dual credit program here at the high school, so the Education Foundation helps with things like that, providing tuition reimbursement for them. It also helps to provide the resource that they need. So for instance, this year my students in dual credit needed a book that's $99 for this semester to take their course. So we reached out to the Education Foundation and they were able to help provide that book for each one.
I definitely think accessibility is the biggest hurdle for our kids to have to clear. And so at Pine Tree, our biggest goal is helping kids reach their highest potential. So the grant opportunity supplies that for our kids who are economically disadvantaged and kind of levels the playing field to those kids who need the extra help.
Each summer, First Baptist Longview offers our students at Birch spots to attend a day camp through Pine Cove Camp in the city. Jada expressed so much appreciation from actually attending the day camp that we decided that she deserved an opportunity to try and attend our Pine Cove overnight camp in Tyler. Once Jada received the grant to attend the overnight camp in Tyler, the Education Foundation, along with many members of the Birch faculty, gathered up materials such as a trunk, shirts for themed days, water bottles, everything she would need to attend the camp, which she greatly appreciated. The student's experience provided her with the opportunity to meet new friends, participate in activities such as horseback riding, and grow in her spiritual faith, which is something she can carry with her for the rest of her life.
I've known Alston for 8 years. I've given him pep talks after his relay teams lost races at track meets. I've watched him find his place on the football field. And I've watched him grow into the amazing young man that he is today. He had believed in himself, and with the belief of his mother and sister, he was able to complete that dream with this Foundations program. And when he got the interest of other schools and they started to watch him on the football field, he knew he needed a little bit more help than just the football scholarships that he got. And this program gave him that chance to go further than just what the scholarships were offering him with football. They gave him the extra help to be able to get the things that he needed to supply his dorm room, to get books, to be able to have the technology to be successful in school.
How I got to see how this program has impacted lives was firsthand last year. One of our students who graduated last year, suffered a great loss. It was a real tough situation, a real struggle. And I could only imagine, anybody going through something like that, especially finishing their senior year. This student, which is an awesome student, does a great job in the classroom and everything that he does and everything that he's involved in. And just seeing him light up now with the emotional confidence going into, the next step, next chapter in his life, not having his parents. He had obstacles, in front of him. I feel like the Pine Tree Educational Foundation was able to remove those obstacles. It's a testament to our Pine Tree Education Foundation grant program that we have here.
So we are really lucky because a lot of our students qualify for free tuition for dual credit, but they have to go to a public institution for that. If a student wants to go to a private university or get dual credit through a private university, then they would have to pay for that. The Education Foundation has kind of bridged that gap for them, so that way they can take classes not just at our local community college, but also at LeTourneau University. And also, if a student wants to take a class over the summer, that would be on them. So since they can apply for a grant, that gives them the opportunity to move forward with their education, learn more, and just take a grasp of that education. So the Education Foundation gave her this opportunity, something that she would have never been able to do financially before. So the Education Foundation bridged that gap for her.
She took all those dual credit classes and would not have been able to do those unless the Education Foundation helped us. It's such a blessing that this program was able to help her to be able to take some of the economic and financial stress off the parents and off Haley to be able to take these classes that we knew that she would be successful in and to be able to do the career that she's doing right now. It's real life stories like these where we see our community and our school districts communicating with each other to see the real benefit of this Education Foundation's help.
Last year, our overall winner oh my gosh, he tugs at my heartstrings every time I think about him. He was the kid who came into my classroom every day on the edge of his seat, but he does come from a single income family where he is being raised by a single mom with multiple children. And so he doesn't have the options that a lot of the other kids do. So towards the end of the year, we were talking about being professional and dressing professionally. So he looked at his mom and he said, "Mom, if you'll take me to secondhand shops, I will spend my own money and I will buy the clothes I need for this interview." And so that's exactly what he did. He goes, "Well, the shoes are a little small, but I only got to wear them for a day." But then, lo and behold, he ended up having to wear them for a couple of days because he won as a finalist. And so he got to come back in a couple of days and interview for the final overall winner, and he took it all home. The connections that he made within that realm, within that interviewing process over that week are just priceless.
So there are a lot of stories that come to mind, but one that really stands out. We had a student that just graduated. Her name was Lauren, and she was a welder. And she decided that she wanted to go to school and be a welder when she graduated. And so she built connections with Skills USA, and she realized that she wanted to go to a specific school because of those connections that she built. There were scholarship opportunities that she wanted to apply for, and unfortunately she couldn't. After talking with the Education Foundation, she applied and she received a grant, so that way it could help cover some of her tuition and her kit so she could be a welder. And it was just a great opportunity for her. When she found out that she got that grant, she ran into my office screaming, gave me this big hug, super out of the norm. People didn't understand what was going on, but she lit up, and it was because of the Education Foundation.
I have a student named Haley. She's a 2023 Pine Tree graduate. She went through all 4 levels of our program, participated in dual credit, and then went on to pursue a career as a CCMA, which she earned all 3 certifications while a senior in high school here. It would not have been possible for her to even be in this field today if it weren't for our Education Foundation to help her. This is how it goes full circle. We had a student this week that's a current student named Allison that participated in a clinical this week and got to participate with Haley as her preceptor. She actually got to go in the field and kind of see what Haley's doing and follow and shadow her. And Allison is that same student in those same shoes right now. I think that the emotional growth I've witnessed, like watching these students become who they are today, would not have been possible without this help.
So one student really comes into mind. Like I said, he was quiet, he was reserved, he wasn't ever wanting to be called on. But when we started going to the track and doing our running program, something really clicked in him. He started to grow a little bit of confidence, and when we went out there, it almost seemed like it was his safe spot, safe space. And so whenever he was awarded those running shoes, his smile was from ear to ear. Now that confidence has just lifted because he knows that there's people in his corner that do believe in him.
In a class where there is predominantly boys, it's hard to be able to really flourish and show yourself. Being able to have this grant to work on things that she needs to work on outside of the four walls of my classroom has increasingly boosted her confidence. Her whole demeanor has changed.
He couldn't have done it without the supplies and the technology and the ability to adjust his dream and do what was best for him, to make the adult decision to not start his life in debt and make the financial choice for himself and adjust and adapt to that decision, which a lot of people didn't believe he could, but he definitely did it, and he is thriving and he is going to do great things.
Without the grant program, these kids wouldn't have that opportunity. None of that would be possible without the student grant program.
I just want to thank the Education Foundation for providing, because it really does mean the world to us and our students.
It's absolutely a blessing to have the foundation help these students where they wouldn't have got to take these courses otherwise.
It's going to open so many doors for them. You think about these kids who are great kids, they're kids first and foremost, and instead of having to focus on how am I going to pay for something, they're actually able to be kids first and foremost, focus on their school, and then the opportunities that these doors are going to open.
Several of the opportunities that have been supplied have only come to be because of the grant opportunities that exist through the Education Foundation.
The Pine Tree Education Foundation grant has removed those barriers. It's a big time resource. It's an unbelievable program that we have that doesn't just benefit kids here at Pine Tree during this time frame, but once they graduate and step into that next chapter of their life. So it's a tremendous help, and I think the world of the program.
And he's so excited about what he's doing. He couldn't have done it without this grant, and that is because this foundation helped him be able to stand on his own feet.
By us donating and giving back, along with all of these thousands of other people that do as well, that support our community and support our school, I get to see these things in my classroom every single day firsthand.
I definitely think that this is the difference between success and not success for our students.
So, as you can see with that message alone, so the Pine Tree Foundation helped this student and it forever changed her life.